Hi, here I am again, the time traveler, with my friendly companion, my low maintenance, let's put it this way, friendly, cuddly companion, no electric, no nothing, just profound, meditative, silent acceptance. Now, how could anybody turn that down? Okay, well, I wanted to talk some. I was talking to a friend of mine who, for many years, has been in the uh, field of aging, in the sense that she's worked in the private sector for people who are providing housing for seniors. In this case, it's more like assisted living with multiple options going forward. But from the private sector. So very comfortable environments, but very, very costly. So one of the things that I think we really, need to think about is the ongoing cost of living, shall we say. Back in the day, older people would live hopefully a healthy, productive life, come to the end of the trail in their sometimes, unfortunately, earlier 50s. Back in the day, men got heart attacks, hardworking men got heart attacks and died in their 50s. That's no longer happening for the most part. But people would sort of shuffle along, and so by the end of their 70s, the numbers were fewer. And during that time, the fruits of their labor, of their work, were passed on to their children. Perhaps they had bought a house back in the day for, what would be considered a pittance nowadays, and which was sold for a handsome sum and then could be distributed to the children so that they could move forward and have more, build their own financial base. And this has really been the, what we might call it, the economic secret of the middle class. But this is being dramatically disrupted and challenged by the cost of senior care. I had mentioned that I had gone to this lecture over at our nearby university about the incidence of dementia among the elderly. And of course, again, the incidence increases dramatically over the age of 85. So when back in the day, many people didn't make it to 85, so you didn't have that problem, so to speak, the incidence, according to their charts, let me see, I have to look at that chart again, starts to accelerate, shall we say, in this, the late 60s, 70s, and then gets 65 to 74, you're beginning to be in that danger zone, shall we say, more so. But by the time you get to be 85 plus, you're talking heavy duty. I don't know, according to their chart, it looked like, 38, no, it's not quite 35, somewhere around 36, 34, 33% of people 85 and over, okay? So this makes a tremendous difference, or it makes a tremendous burden on the resources of the middle class family to take care of their elderly and to actually, when they have to, pay for it. Now, in the United States, they are saying that there are almost 7 million people with dementia at this time. And it's more common in women. And women, of course, traditionally had lower incomes and blah, blah. That might be changing to some extent. But older women are probably living, at a lower economic level. So 61% of those with dementia are women and 39% are men. And women do tend, especially in their older age, to live alone or sometimes with their families. Often, well, nowadays the spouse has divorced them and is cavorting around with the 30-year-old, but it used to be that the spouse didn't make it and the women were, left on their own devices. The numbers now, the numbers they give here are 2024. So we are really not getting the full impact of the aging of the baby boomer generation included in these figures. I forget exactly, but it's the baby boomers are the ones that are marching off into the future right now. That's the the largest number of people ever on the planet that had that are reaching these advanced ages all at the same time. What they were saying that is that the yearly cost of care for people with dementia in the United States in 2024 is $360 billion. Okay. Now, what they are also saying here, and this is supposed to be, pretty, it was given at a university lecture. Hopefully they check their facts. More than 11 million people provide unpaid care to these almost 7 million individuals with Alzheimer's. And they value this unpaid care at about $350 billion. Okay. So we are looking at some kind of big money going on. And of course, because of the different configuration of families these days, the disbursement of children, people no longer all live in the same neighborhood or in close proximity for the most part. I mean, there's still a group that is has the same kind of basic footprint where the family members are somewhere in the vicinity so they can kind of pitch in and help take care of grandma. Okay, women are the more, women are the larger percentage of those with Alzheimer's, 61%. But very often now there's been a huge distribution of the families because of economic reasons. The children, instead of living in the locality where they were born or the neighborhood around their family, they move to the West Coast. They move elsewhere, following their professions and and establishing households far away from their family, from their place of origin. So this is going to be an increasing issue as we go forward. Where is the money going to come from for caring? Again, they're saying now there's over 11 million people right now are providing $350 billion with a B dollars worth of unpaid family caregiving, relatives. Well, the pattern has been that relatives have been dispersing everywhere. So we're not going to have this close proximity that we relied on in the past, and that has been very helpful. What will happen is paid caregiving then becomes primary, moving into some form of living environment which provides support and the setting in which people can continue to live is getting more and more costly. And what will be happening is the house that has so much appreciated since it was purchased in 1943 or 62 or whatever, instead of the proceeds going to the children or the grandchildren, the proceeds will be going to the senior industrial complex, which is already buying up nursing homes, assisted living, continuing care communities. That is going to be needed to care for all these individuals who are living with disabilities which require that they have care. And some people get to the point where it's like 24/7, there's no alternative. So we really have to think about what we need to do in terms of our finances, because the middle class is under duress, it's under stress, and it is losing the prime motor of its financial growth which is the intergenerational transfer of wealth, of appreciated assets, hard-won assets that came as a result of a lifetime of working hard. Now, instead of that going to your kids to give them a better platform, it's going to the assisted living, the home care work, the home care agency, all the other entities that are profiting enormously by this new boom in senior need, I would say, all right? Senior need. And it's very interesting to see how everyone can be converted into a profit center. So now the assets of middle-class seniors have made us a profit center. So it's important that we really think about what is our situation, are there things that we could be doing to be helpful? Because those assets that we do possess are hard won. Most of us are not trust fund babies. We worked hard. We did what we were supposed to do. And instead of being able to transfer that accumulated wealth to our children, it will be dissipated and spent on our care. And of course, we would want to be cared for. I'm not opposed to, we're not saying leave you out in the rain, but are there ways that we could be either preventing or in some way protecting ourselves from the consequences of that drain on our family resources? Well, thanks so much. I have my friend here, and we will be seeing you again. Here's the Time Traveler signing off. Have a great day.